Some nights are made for secrets. In my house, those nights happen more often than I care to admit. I'm Wilder Sornel, 44 years old, construction foreman by trade, and apparently the last person to know what goes on under my own roof. 3 a.m. finds me standing in my kitchen, staring at the guest room door that just clicked shut. My wife Mira emerges wearing something that makes my stomach drop, my son's old college hoodie, Blake's hoodie, my 24-year-old son from my first marriage. Mira freezes when she sees me, her perfectly manicured fingers clutching the oversized fabric. For someone who works in HR and makes her living reading people, she's terrible at hiding guilt. Her dark hair is mussed, lipstick gone, and there's something in her eyes I've never seen before, panic mixed with defiance. "Couldn't sleep," she says, voice too casual. "Blake left this in the dryer." The lie hangs between us like smoke. Blake hasn't lived here in 6 months, not since he moved into that overpriced apartment downtown to chase his tech startup dreams. More importantly, I did the laundry yesterday. That hoodie wasn't in any dryer. "Right," I say, keeping my voice level. "Insomnia's rough." She nods too quickly and hurries upstairs to our bedroom. I stay in the kitchen, listening to her footsteps overhead, processing what I just witnessed. 20 years in construction teaches you to notice when something doesn't fit. Right now, nothing in my life fits. I pour myself coffee, even though it's the middle of the night. The kitchen feels different somehow, like I'm seeing it for the first time. The granite countertops Mira insisted on, the stainless steel appliances that cost more than my truck, all of it suddenly feels foreign. My phone buzzes with a text. Blake's name on the screen makes my chest tighten. "Thanks for tonight. See you tomorrow." The message wasn't meant for me. Blake's always been careless with his contacts. But this time, his carelessness might be exactly what I needed. I delete the message before Mira can see it, but the words burn in my memory. "Thanks for tonight," in my house, while I was supposedly asleep upstairs. The guest room door stands slightly ajar. I push it open and flick on the light. The bed is rumpled, pillows scattered. There's an indent in the mattress that's too large for one person. The air smells like Mira's perfume mixed with something else, Blake's cologne, the expensive stuff he wears to impress investors. I sit on the edge of the bed, trying to process this. My wife and my son. The son I raised after his mother passed when he was 12. The son I put through college, supported through his failed business ventures, bailed out when his credit cards maxed out. The son who apparently thinks my wife is fair game. Rage builds in my chest, but I push it down. Rage makes you stupid, and I can't afford to be stupid right now. I need to be smart. I need to be sure. I head to the living room where our shared laptop sits on the coffee table. Mira always leaves it open, password saved, trusting me not to snoop through her business. That trust is about to bite her in the rear. The browser history tells a story I don't want to read. Dating advice articles. How to know if someone is interested. Navigating complicated relationships. The searches go back 3 months. 3 months. This isn't some recent mistake or moment of weakness. This has been building for a quarter of a year, right under my nose. I dig deeper, opening her email. Most of it is work-related HR nonsense, but there's a folder labeled personal that catches my attention. Inside, I find what I'm looking for. A chat thread with someone listed as B-Dog, Blake's old gaming handle from high school. The messages start innocent enough. "How's the startup going?" "Thanks for helping with the roof repair." Normal stepmother-stepson conversation. But as I scroll down, the tone shifts. "You looked good today." Mira. "Thanks. You too. That dress was..." B-Dog. "Was what?" Mira. "Dangerous." B-Dog. My hands shake as I keep reading. The messages get progressively more intimate, more explicit. Plans to meet when I'm at work. Complaints about how I don't appreciate Mira. Blake agreeing, calling me clueless and stuck in the past. The worst part isn't the betrayal. It's how calculated it all is. This wasn't passion or forbidden love. This was two people who thought they were smarter than me, planning behind my back, laughing at my expense. I screenshot everything, creating a folder on the desktop labeled Evidence. 20 years of managing construction projects taught me the importance of documentation. Every timeline, every photo, every receipt, it all matters when you're building a case. Next, I check our home security system. The doorbell camera keeps footage for 60 days, and I have a sinking feeling I know what I'll find. Sure enough, there's Blake's car in our driveway at 11:47 p.m., 3 nights ago. Then again last Tuesday, and the week before that. Always late at night. Always when I was asleep. I download the footage and add it to my evidence folder. The timestamps match perfectly with some of the more intimate messages in their chat thread. These two thought they were so clever, but they left a digital trail a blind person could follow. My phone buzzes again. This time it's a calendar notification. Mira's calendar, which syncs to our shared Google account. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., coffee. Coffee. Right. I screenshot the calendar entry and add it to my growing collection. Then I sit back and consider my options. I could confront them right now, storm upstairs, and demand answers. I could throw Blake out and file for divorce tomorrow, but that would be letting them off easy. They've been playing games with my life for 3 months, treating me like I'm some oblivious fool who doesn't deserve the truth. They want to play games? Fine. But we're playing by my rules now. I close the laptop and head back to bed. Mira pretends to be asleep, but her breathing is too controlled, too careful. She's awake, probably wondering if I suspected anything, if I bought her story about the hoodie. Let her wonder. I lie there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, planning my next moves. Construction projects require careful sequencing. You can't put up walls before you pour the foundation, can't install fixtures before you run the electrical. Revenge, I'm learning, follows similar principles. First, I need more evidence. Solid, undeniable proof that even they can't explain away. Second, I need to understand the full scope of what I'm dealing with. How long has this been going on? Who else knows? Are there others involved? Third, I need a plan that hits them where it hurts most. For Mira, that's her reputation and career. She's built her identity around being the perfect HR professional, the woman who has everything together. For Blake, it's his image as the golden boy entrepreneur, the charming young man everyone loves. They want to destroy my marriage? Fine. I'll destroy everything else. The clock on my nightstand reads 4:23 a.m. when I finally drift off to sleep. But even in my dreams, I'm planning. Building something new from the wreckage they've made of my life. When I wake up 6 hours later, Mira is already gone. There's a note on her pillow. Early meeting. See you tonight. Love you. Love you. The words feel like a slap across the face. I shower and dress for work, but my mind isn't on the construction site waiting for me. It's on the laptop downstairs, the evidence folder growing larger by the hour, and the family meeting I'm going to schedule for this Sunday. They think they're so smart, sneaking around, making plans, treating me like I'm invisible. They're about to learn just how visible I can make them. The Riverside construction site buzzes with activity, but my mind is elsewhere. I'm supposed to be reviewing blueprints for the new medical center, but all I can think about is the blueprint of betrayal I discovered last night. Earth to Wilder, calls out my foreman, Jake Martinez. You okay, boss? You've been staring at that wall for 10 minutes. I snap back to reality. Just thinking through the electrical layout, something doesn't add up. It's not a complete lie. Something definitely doesn't add up, but it has nothing to do with construction. My phone buzzes with a text from Mira. Working late tonight, don't wait up. Working late. On a Tuesday. When her calendar clearly shows that 2 p.m. coffee with B-Dog. I text back, no problem. I'll grab dinner with Zeke. Zeke Brennan owns Murphy's Tavern downtown and has been my closest friend since high school. If anyone can help me think through this situation without judging me for it, it's Zeke. The day drags on endlessly. Every time my phone buzzes, I expect to see more evidence of their deception. Instead, it's just work calls, supplier updates, and the usual construction site chaos. Normal life continuing while my world falls apart in slow motion. At 5:30, I clean up and head to Murphy's. The tavern sits on Main Street in a building that's older than both of us, with exposed brick walls and the kind of worn wooden floors that tell stories. Zeke's behind the bar, wiping down glasses with the methodical precision of someone who's done this for 20 years. "You look like someone stole your lunch money," he says as I slide onto my usual stool. Worse. I order a beer and wait until the other customers are out of earshot. "I need to tell you something, and I need you to listen without offering to punch anyone." Zeke sets down his towel and gives me his full attention. "That bad?" "Mira's sleeping with Blake." The words hang in the air between us. Zeke's expression doesn't change, but his knuckles whiten around the glass he's holding. "You're Blake? Your son Blake?" "My son Blake." He sets the glass down carefully. "You sure?" I pull out my phone and show him some of the screenshots I took. Not the most explicit ones. I'm not ready to share those with anyone, but enough to make the situation clear. Zeke reads in silence, his jaw tightening with each message. When he's done, he looks up at me with something between anger and sympathy. "How long?" "At least 3 months, maybe longer." "What are you going to do?" It's the question I've been asking myself all day. I'm not sure yet, but I know what I'm not going to do. Which is? I'm not going to confront them privately and give them a chance to spin this. I'm not going to let them paint me as the bad guy who couldn't handle the truth, and I'm definitely not going to let them think they can get away with this. Zeke nods slowly. "You want my advice?" "That's why I'm here. Don't get mad. Get thorough." He's right. Anger is a luxury I can't afford right now. I need to be methodical, careful, strategic. I need to build an airtight case before I make my move. I'm thinking of calling a family meeting. Sunday dinner. Everyone together. Everyone? Everyone. Mira's sister Tessa, my Aunt Lydia, maybe even Blake's ex-girlfriend Jenny if I can reach her. Make it a real gathering. Zeke raises an eyebrow. That's either brilliant or insane. Maybe both. We sit in comfortable silence for a while, nursing our beers and watching the evening crowd filter in. Murphy's is the kind of place where everyone knows everyone, where secrets don't stay secret for long, which gives me an idea. "Zeke, what do you know about Mira's reputation around town?" He considers the question carefully. She's always been particular about her image. Professional, put together, maybe a little cold. Why? Just curious about how people see her. But I'm more than curious. I'm starting to understand that this isn't just about my marriage. It's about the entire facade Mira has built around herself. The perfect HR director, the ideal stepmother, the woman who has everything under control. That facade is about to crumble. I finish my beer and head home, but I don't go inside immediately. Instead, I sit in my truck in the driveway, looking at the house I've called home for 8 years. The house where I thought I was building a life with someone who loved me. The lights are off. Mira's car isn't in the driveway, even though it's past 8 o'clock. Her working late story is falling apart already. I go inside and fire up the laptop again. This time, I'm more systematic about my investigation. I check bank statements, looking for unusual expenses or charges I don't recognize. I find plenty. Dinner at Romano's, an expensive Italian place downtown, on a night when Mira told me she was at a work conference. Hotel charges in the city during what was supposed to be a girls' weekend with her sister. Even a charge at Victoria's Secret from last week, for lingerie I've never seen. She's been financing her affair with our joint account. The audacity of it takes my breath away. I document everything, creating a spreadsheet that cross-references dates, expenses, and the messages from her chat with Blake. The pattern is undeniable. Every romantic dinner, every hotel stay, every intimate purchase corresponds with their digital flirtation. My phone rings, Mira's name on the screen. "Hey," I answer, keeping my voice neutral. "Hi, honey. Just wanted to let you know I'm heading home now. The presentation ran longer than expected." "No problem. How did it go?" "Really well. I think we impressed the client." Another lie. I checked her work calendar earlier. There was no presentation scheduled for today. "That's great. I'm proud of you." "Thanks. I should be home in about 30 minutes. Drive safe." I hang up and immediately check the doorbell camera's live feed. No cars in the driveway except mine. If she's 30 minutes away, where is she calling from? 28 minutes later, Blake's car pulls into our driveway. He gets out, adjusts his shirt, and walks to the front door like he owns the place. 30 seconds after that, Mira's car appears. They planned this, coordinated their arrival times so it would look like coincidence if I happened to see them both coming home at the same time. I watch from the upstairs window as Blake rings the doorbell. Mira answers, and they exchange what looks like a casual greeting, but I can see the tension in their body language, the way they stand just a little too close, the way Blake's hand brushes against Mira's arm. "Wilder?" Mira calls from downstairs. "Blake stopped by to return that book you lent him." Book. Right. I never lent Blake any book. I come downstairs to find them in the living room, sitting on opposite ends of the couch like they're trying too hard to look innocent. "Hey, Dad," Blake says, not quite meeting my eyes. "Thanks for letting me borrow that project management book. Really helpful stuff." I nod and smile. "Glad it helped. How's the startup going?" "Good, good. We're in talks with some potential investors." More lies. I know his startup is struggling because I've been helping him with rent for the past 3 months. But I play along, asking questions about his fictional success, watching him squirm as he tries to keep his story straight. Mira sits quietly, occasionally nodding or adding supportive comments. She's good at this, the supportive stepmother act. Too bad I know what she was really supporting earlier this evening. After 20 minutes of painful small talk, Blake makes his excuses and leaves. Mira and I go through our normal evening routine. She showers, I watch TV, we exchange pleasantries about our days. All of it feels surreal, like I'm acting in a play where I'm the only one who doesn't know the script. When we go to bed, Mira curls up against me like she has for 8 years. Her hair smells like Blake's cologne. "I love you," she whispers in the dark. "I love you too," I whisper back. It's the last lie I'll tell her. Wednesday morning brings rain and revelation. While Mira showers, I check her phone. She left it charging on the nightstand, another sign of how comfortable she's become with her deception. The messages with Blake have evolved overnight. They're planning something for Friday, when W is at the job site meeting. W. They can't even be bothered to use my name anymore. I screenshot the new messages and add them to my evidence folder, which now contains over 40 pieces of documentation. Chat logs, photos, bank statements, calendar entries, security footage, everything needed to build an ironclad case. But I need more than evidence. I need witnesses. My first call is to Aunt Lydia, my father's sister, and the unofficial town historian. At 73, she knows everyone's business and isn't shy about sharing her opinions. "Wilder, honey," she says when she picks up. "How lovely to hear from you. How are things?" "Actually, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I'm planning a family dinner this Sunday. Nothing fancy, just want to get everyone together." "How wonderful. It's been too long since we've had a proper gathering. Should I bring my famous potato salad?" "That would be perfect. I'll send you the details later." Next, I call Mira's sister Tessa. She's always been Mira's closest confidant, which makes her either complicit in this affair or completely clueless. Either way, she needs to be there Sunday. "Wilder, hi," Tessa answers, sounding surprised. I rarely call her directly. Is everything okay? Everything's fine. I'm organizing a family dinner for Sunday and wanted to make sure you could make it. That sounds nice. What's the occasion? No special occasion. Just felt like it was time to bring everyone together. You know how important family is. Of course. I'll be there. Should I bring anything? Just yourself. Oh, and feel free to invite anyone else you think should be there. The more the merrier. It's a fishing expedition, and Tessa takes the bait. Well, I could ask my friend Monica from work. She's been going through a rough time lately. Perfect. The invitation is open. I hang up satisfied. If Tessa brings her work friends, word will spread through Mira's professional circle that much faster. My next call is trickier. Jenny Walsh, Blake's ex-girlfriend from college. They dated for 3 years before breaking up last spring, and I always liked her. She's smart, honest, and has no reason to protect Blake from the consequences of his choices. Finding her number takes some detective work, but social media makes everything possible these days. I send her a Facebook message explaining that I'm organizing a family gathering and would love to catch up. She responds within an hour. That sounds wonderful, Mr. Sornel. Blake and I aren't together anymore, but I'd love to see everyone. Perfect. Jenny doesn't know about Blake's current situation, which means her reaction will be genuine when the truth comes out. The final piece of my puzzle is the most important. I need to document everything that happens Sunday, which means I need recording equipment. A trip to the electronics store downtown solves that problem. I buy a small digital recorder and a wireless microphone system, telling the clerk I'm recording a family history project for my aunt. Not technically a lie. This will definitely be a historic day for our family. Thursday passes in a blur of preparation. I test the recording equipment, plan the seating arrangement, and draft the agenda for Sunday's meeting. Everything needs to be perfect. Friday brings the ultimate test of my self-control. Mira announces she's going shopping after work, which according to her messages with Blake means she's meeting him at his apartment. Take your time, I tell her. I'll probably work late anyway. She kisses my cheek before leaving, and I have to resist the urge to wipe it off. Instead of working late, I drive to Blake's apartment complex and park where I can see his building. Sure enough, Mira's car is in the visitor parking, right next to Blake's BMW. I sit there for 2 hours, taking photos of their cars, documenting the timeline. It's torture, but it's necessary. When this all comes out, I want every detail documented. My phone buzzes with a text from Mira. Shopping is taking longer than expected. Probably won't be home until late. I text back, no rush, love you. The lies come so easily now. Maybe I'm more like them than I thought. Saturday is devoted to final preparations. I clean the house, prepare the dining room for our guests, and set up the recording equipment. The wireless microphones are hidden throughout the room, and the main recorder is concealed in the sideboard. I also prepare the presentation itself. Using our big screen TV and the laptop, I create a slideshow that tells the story chronologically. Screenshots of messages, security footage, bank statements, calendar entries, everything arranged to build an undeniable narrative. The final slide is a simple message. Questions? Sunday morning dawns clear and cold. Mira bustles around the kitchen, preparing food and setting the table. She seems excited about the gathering, chatting about how nice it will be to see everyone. You're in a good mood, I observe. I just love having family together. It reminds me what's really important. The irony is so thick I could choke on it. Guests start arriving at 2 o'clock. Aunt Lydia comes first, carrying her famous potato salad and a bottle of wine. She hugs me tightly and whispers, "You look thin, dear. Are you eating enough?" Tessa arrives next with her friend Monica, a sharp-eyed woman who works in Mira's HR department. Perfect. She'll be able to appreciate the professional implications of what's about to unfold. Jenny shows up fashionably late, looking beautiful and confident. She greets everyone warmly, and I notice Mira's slight tension when they hug. Does Mira know about Blake's history with Jenny? The thought adds another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation. Blake arrives last, of course. He's always been dramatic about his entrances. He works the room like a politician, charming Aunt Lydia, flirting mildly with Jenny, treating Mira with careful stepson affection. If I didn't know better, I'd think he was just being his usual charismatic self. But I do know better, and I can see the subtle signals passing between him and Mira. The lingering eye contact, the carefully casual touches, the shared smiles that last a fraction too long. "Shall we eat?" Mira suggests, and everyone moves to the dining room. Dinner conversation flows naturally. Aunt Lydia shares gossip from her bridge club. Tessa talks about her latest work projects. Jenny updates everyone on her new job at a marketing firm. Blake dominates the conversation with stories about his startup, painting a picture of imminent success that I know is complete fiction. Mira plays the perfect hostess, keeping glasses filled and conversation flowing. She's in her element, surrounded by family and friends, the center of attention in her own home. She has no idea she's about to become the center of a very different kind of attention. After dessert, I stand and tap my wine glass with a fork. Before everyone leaves, I wanted to share something with all of you, a little family business that I think everyone should know about. Mira looks puzzled, but not alarmed. "Wilder, what are you talking about?" "Just some updates on our family situation. Nothing too serious." I walk to the sideboard and retrieve the laptop, connecting it to the TV with practiced ease. The screen lights up with my carefully prepared presentation. I thought it might be interesting to share some recent family communications with everyone. The first slide appears, a screenshot of Blake and Mira's chat thread, with the contact name B-Dog clearly visible. The room goes silent. The silence stretches like a taut wire. 7 pairs of eyes stare at the screen, reading the intimate messages between my wife and son. I watch their faces carefully, cataloging each reaction. Aunt Lydia's hand flies to her mouth. Jenny's eyes widen in shock and disgust. Monica, the HR professional, leans forward with the focused attention of someone recognizing a career-ending scandal. Tessa looks confused, as if she can't quite process what she's seeing. Blake has gone pale, his usual confidence evaporating like morning fog. And Mira? Mira's face cycles through a range of emotions: surprise, panic, anger, and finally, a cold calculation that I've never seen before. "Wilder, what is this?" she asks, her voice steady despite the chaos erupting around her. "Family communications," I reply calmly, advancing to the next slide. I thought everyone should be aware of what's been happening in our household. The next image shows bank statements with highlighted charges. Romano's restaurant, the downtown hotel, Victoria's Secret. Each expense carefully cross-referenced with dates from their message thread. "This is ridiculous," Blake says, finding his voice. "Dad, you're completely misinterpreting." "Am I?" I advance to the next slide. Security camera footage showing Blake entering our house at 11:47 p.m. while I was asleep upstairs. The timestamp is clear, the image undeniable. Jenny makes a sound like she's been punched. "Blake, you didn't." "Jenny, it's not what it looks like." "It's exactly what it looks like," I say, clicking to the next slide. More footage, more timestamps, more evidence of their late-night meetings. Aunt Lydia sets down her wine glass with shaking hands. "Wilder, dear, perhaps we should discuss this privately." "No." My voice cuts through her diplomatic suggestion. "This has been private for 3 months. It's time for some transparency." I advance through more slides methodically. Calendar entries showing their planned meetings, text messages discussing when I'd be out of the house, screenshots of Mira's browser history showing her research into complicated relationships and age gap romance. With each revelation, the room grows more tense. Monica is taking notes on her phone, probably already thinking about the HR implications. Tessa keeps looking between her sister and Blake like she's watching a tennis match. Wilder, stop this, Mira says, standing up abruptly. This is humiliating and unnecessary. Humiliating? I pause the presentation and look directly at her. You're concerned about humiliation? That's interesting. You're twisting everything. Those messages are taken out of context. Context. I nod thoughtfully and click to a new slide, a screenshot of their most explicit exchange, where they discuss meeting at the downtown hotel while I was supposedly at a construction conference. The room erupts. Oh my God, Jenny whispers, covering her face with her hands. This is unbelievable, Monica mutters, still typing on her phone. Aunt Lydia stands up shakily. I think I need some air. But I'm not done. I advance to the final section of my presentation, the financial analysis, a spreadsheet showing every expense related to their affair, totaling over $3,000 from our joint account. 3 months, I announced to the room. 3 months of planning, lying, and spending our money to finance their relationship, all while pretending to be a loving family. Blake finally explodes. Dad, you're being insane. This is a private matter. Private? I laugh, but there's no humor in it. You made it public the moment you decided to conduct your affair in my house, with my wife, using my money. I click to the final slide. Questions? The room descends into chaos. Multiple conversations erupt simultaneously. Jenny rounds on Blake. You cheated on me with your stepmother? Your stepmother? Monica is on her phone, clearly calling someone from work. Probably Mira's boss. Tessa grabs Mira's arm. Tell me this isn't true. Tell me you didn't actually… Aunt Lydia returns from the kitchen with a glass of water and a grim expression. In my day, this would be a scandal that destroyed families for generations. Through it all, Mira and Blake stand frozen, their carefully constructed deception crumbling around them like a house built on sand. Enough! Mira shouts over the din. Everyone needs to leave, now! Actually, I say calmly, this is my house. I decide who leaves. I walk to the sideboard and retrieve a manila folder I prepared earlier. Inside are printed copies of everything, every message, every photo, every bank statement. I hand a set to each guest. Take these with you, I tell them. Feel free to share them with anyone you think should know the truth about Mira and Blake. Monica immediately starts flipping through the pages, her professional interest clearly piqued. Mira, this could affect your employment. Workplace conduct policies, ethics violations. It's none of your business, Mira snaps. Actually, it is my business. I work in HR too, remember? This kind of behavior reflects on all of us. Jenny is crying now, still staring at Blake in disbelief. 3 years we were together. 3 years, and you were capable of this? Jenny, please let me explain. Explain what? How you started sleeping with your father's wife. How you betrayed your own family. She throws her copy of the evidence at his feet. Don't ever contact me again. She storms out, and I hear her car start in the driveway moments later. Tessa is reading through the messages with growing horror. Mira, how could you do this? To Wilder? To your marriage? To yourself? You don't understand the situation. I understand plenty. You're having an affair with your stepson. What else is there to understand? Aunt Lydia approaches me and pats my arm gently. Dear, I'm so sorry you had to go through this, but you handled it with more dignity than they deserved. She gathers her purse and coat. I'll be calling you this week. We have a lot to discuss. As she leaves, I know the news will be all over town by tomorrow morning. Aunt Lydia's bridge club is more effective than social media when it comes to spreading information. Monica finishes reviewing the documents and looks up at Mira with professional disappointment. I have to report this to HR tomorrow. The ethics implications alone. Monica, please. I'm sorry, Mira, but this affects your credibility as an HR professional. The company can't ignore something like this. She leaves without another word, taking her copies of the evidence with her. Now it's just family in the room, what's left of our family anyway. Tessa looks between Mira and Blake with disgust. I can't even look at either of you right now. She heads for the door, then turns back. Wilder, I'm sorry, you deserved better than this. And then there were three. Blake tries one last desperate play. Dad, we can work through this. It doesn't have to destroy our relationship. Our relationship? I stare at him in amazement. You think we still have a relationship after this? I'm still your son. No, you're not. The words come out colder than I intended, but I mean every one of them. My son wouldn't have done this. My son would have had loyalty, integrity, basic human decency. I don't know who you are, but you're not my son. Blake's face crumples. For a moment, he looks like the 12-year-old boy who used to help me with construction projects on weekends. Then the moment passes, and I see him for what he really is. A selfish, entitled young man who thinks the world owes him everything. Get out, I tell him quietly. Get out of my house, and don't come back. He looks to Mira for support, but she's staring at the floor, apparently realizing that her perfect life has just imploded in spectacular fashion. Blake leaves without another word. Mira and I stand alone in our dining room, surrounded by the wreckage of our marriage and family. The presentation is still running on the TV, cycling through slides of their betrayal on an endless loop. Turn it off, she says quietly. I reach for the remote and power down the TV. The sudden silence is deafening. What happens now? She asks. I look at my wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, and feel nothing but exhaustion. Now you pack your things and leave. We'll figure out the rest later. Wilder, please. We can work through this. No, we can't. This isn't a mistake or a moment of weakness. This is 3 months of calculated deception. There's no working through that. She nods slowly, finally understanding that her marriage is over. I'll pack tonight and stay at Tessa's. Good. I'll have my lawyer contact you this week. She heads upstairs to pack, leaving me alone with the aftermath of the most important presentation of my life. I pour myself a glass of wine and sit in my living room, listening to her moving around upstairs. In a few hours she'll be gone, and I'll be alone in the house we shared for 8 years. But for the first time in months, I won't be living with lies. Monday morning arrives with the subtlety of a construction crane. My phone starts ringing at 6:30 a.m. and doesn't stop. Word travels fast in a small town, especially when Aunt Lydia's bridge club is involved. The first call is from my lawyer, David Chen. Wait, that name's on the forbidden list. David Mitchell. He's heard rumors and wants to meet immediately to discuss divorce proceedings. The second call is from Zeke, who's heard the story from 3 different sources already and wants to buy me breakfast. The third call is from Blake. I let it go to voicemail. The fourth call is from Mira's boss at Henderson & Associates, the HR consulting firm where she's worked for 6 years. That one I answer. Mr. Sornel, this is Patricia Henderson. I believe we've met at company functions. Yes, Mrs. Henderson. What can I do for you? I'm calling about some concerning information that came to my attention this morning regarding your wife's conduct. Would you be available to meet today? Of course. When and where? My office at 10 o'clock, if that works for you. I agree and hang up, feeling a grim satisfaction. Monica clearly followed through on her promise to report this to HR. Mira's professional reputation is about to join her personal reputation in the garbage. I skip the construction site and head directly to Henderson & Associates. The office building is one of those modern glass structures that's supposed to look impressive, but mostly just looks cold. Like Mira, I suppose. Patricia Henderson is a woman in her 50s with steel gray hair and the no-nonsense demeanor of someone who's built a successful business from scratch. She greets me in her corner office with a firm handshake and concerned expression. Mr. Sornel, thank you for coming in on short notice. I want you to know that what I'm about to discuss is highly unusual, but the circumstances require immediate attention. She gestures to a chair across from her desk. I received a call this morning from one of our employees who attended a family gathering at your home yesterday. She provided me with some very disturbing information about your wife's conduct. I nod but don't say anything. Let her drive this conversation. According to our employee handbook and professional ethics guidelines, the behavior described in this report constitutes a serious breach of professional conduct. The nature of the relationship, the deception involved, and the potential impact on our company's reputation all factor into this decision. She pauses, choosing her words carefully. I've tried calling Mira this morning, but she hasn't responded. Do you know how I can reach her? She's staying with her sister temporarily. I can give you that number. That would be helpful. She writes down Tessa's information. Mr. Sornel, I want you to know that our company takes these matters very seriously. Trust and integrity are fundamental to our business model. When an employee's personal conduct calls those qualities into question, she doesn't need to finish the sentence. Mira's career in HR is over. I understand, I tell her, and I appreciate you handling this professionally. Is there anything else you think I should know about this situation? I consider mentioning the financial aspects, how Mira used our joint account to finance her affair, but decide that's probably beyond Mrs. Henderson's immediate concern. I think you have all the relevant information. If you need anything else, please don't hesitate to call. I leave the office feeling like another piece of my revenge plan has fallen into place. Mira built her identity around her professional success. Watching that crumble will hurt her more than any divorce settlement. My next stop is Murphy's Tavern, where Zeke is waiting with coffee and the kind of breakfast that's designed to soak up alcohol, even though it's barely 10 in the morning. You look better than I expected, he says as I sit down. I feel better than I expected. No regrets about yesterday? I consider the question seriously. None. They made their choices and now they get to live with the consequences. Zeke nods approvingly. What's next? Divorce lawyer this afternoon, real estate agent tomorrow. I'm putting the house on the market. You sure about that? It's a beautiful house. It's full of bad memories now. Time for a fresh start. We eat in comfortable silence, watching the lunch crowd filter in. Murphy's is buzzing with conversation, and I catch fragments about that business with the Sornels, and can you believe what she did? The story is spreading exactly as I hoped it would. My phone buzzes with a text from Blake. Dad, please call me. We need to talk. I delete the message without responding. Another text, this one from Mira. Can we please discuss this like adults? I delete that one too. A third text from a number I don't recognize. This is Jenny. I wanted to thank you for opening my eyes about Blake. I had no idea he was capable of something like this. That one I keep. The afternoon meeting with my lawyer goes exactly as expected. David Mitchell is thorough, professional, and optimistic about my prospects in the divorce proceedings. Given the evidence you've provided, I don't anticipate any problems with asset division or alimony claims, he explains. The adultery is well documented, and the financial misuse strengthens your position considerably. How long will this take? In this state, with these circumstances, probably 6 to 8 months for a final decree. We can file the initial paperwork this week. Do it. I spend the rest of the afternoon at the construction site trying to focus on normal work, but my crew keeps giving me sympathetic looks and making awkward small talk. News travels fast in the construction world, too. By evening, I'm exhausted from fielding calls, answering questions, and pretending to care about concrete pours and electrical inspections. I drive home to my empty house and pour myself a large glass of wine. The silence is strange, but not unpleasant. For the first time in months, I don't have to wonder what Mira is really doing or who she's talking to. I don't have to decode hidden meanings in casual conversations or question every late night at the office. I'm alone, but I'm not being lied to anymore. My phone rings. Aunt Lydia. Wilder, dear, how are you holding up? I'm fine, Aunt Lydia. Better than fine, actually. Good. I wanted you to know that I've been making some calls today. This could be interesting. When Aunt Lydia makes calls, things happen. What kind of calls? Well, I spoke to Margaret Patterson from the country club. You know Mira's been trying to get into their women's auxiliary for 2 years? Yes. That's not happening anymore. I also called Father Mackenzie at St. Mary's, where Mira volunteers with the charity drive. He was quite disturbed by what I told him. Aunt Lydia is systematically destroying Mira's social connections. It's more thorough than anything I could have planned myself. I hope you don't think I'm overstepping, she continues, but that girl made her bed, and now she can lie in it. Alone. I appreciate everything you're doing. Family takes care of family, dear. Speaking of which, have you heard from Blake? He's been calling and texting. I'm not responding. Good. That boy needs to learn that actions have consequences. Maybe this will finally teach him some responsibility. After we hang up, I realize that my revenge is taking on a life of its own. I lit the fuse yesterday, but now the explosion is spreading in directions I never anticipated. Mira's professional life, social connections, and family relationships are all collapsing simultaneously. Part of me feels guilty about the thoroughness of her destruction. But then, I remember the 3 months of lies, the stolen money, the casual way she kissed my cheek while planning to meet my son. The guilt evaporates. I'm finishing dinner when my doorbell rings. Through the peephole, I see Tessa standing on my front porch looking nervous and upset. I open the door but don't invite her in. Wilder, we need to talk. About what? About Mira, about this whole situation. I think everything that needed to be said was said yesterday. Please, just 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I let her into the living room. She sits on the edge of the couch like she's ready to run at any moment. Mira is devastated, she begins. Good. She made a mistake. She made dozens of mistakes over 3 months. This wasn't an accident, Tessa. I know, but she's my sister. She's family. She was my wife. That's family too. Tessa sighs heavily. What do you want from her? What would it take to fix this? I stare at her in amazement. Fix this? There's no fixing this. She destroyed our marriage, betrayed our family, and humiliated me in front of everyone I care about. What exactly do you think can be fixed? She's sorry. She's sorry she got caught. There's a difference. Tessa tries a few more arguments, but her heart isn't really in it. She knows what Mira did was unforgivable. She's just going through the motions because she feels obligated to try. After she leaves, I pour another glass of wine and sit on my back deck, looking out at the yard Mira and I landscaped together 3 years ago. The garden beds are still beautiful, but they feel like artifacts from someone else's life. My phone buzzes with one final message of the day. It's from Blake. Dad, I know you hate me right now, but I need you to know that I never meant for this to happen. It just did. For the first time since this started, I respond, things don't just happen, Blake. People make choices. You chose to betray your family. Now you get to live with that choice. His response comes immediately. I'm still your son. No, I type back. You're not. I block his number and delete the conversation thread. Tomorrow, I'll meet with the real estate agent and start the process of selling the house. Next week, I'll look at apartments closer to downtown. By Christmas, I'll be living somewhere new, surrounded by new memories instead of old lies. Mira and Blake wanted to rewrite our family story. Well, they succeeded. But they're not going to like how this story ends. The wine is making me philosophical, so I allow myself one moment of genuine sadness for what we lost. Not what they destroyed, what we lost. The possibility of growing old together, of building something lasting and true. But that possibility died the moment Mira decided my son was more interesting than her husband. Now I'm building something new, something honest, something that's entirely mine. 3 weeks later, I'm standing in the empty house with a real estate agent named Carol Peterson, watching her take photos for the listing. The furniture is gone, sold or donated or moved to my new apartment downtown. What remains are bare walls and the echo of footsteps on hardwood floors. The market is strong right now, Carol says, adjusting her camera angle. I think we'll have multiple offers within the first week. Good. I want this sold quickly. She nods professionally, but I catch her glancing at me with curiosity. She knows the story. Everyone in town knows the story by now. But she's too professional to ask questions. My phone rings as we finish the walkthrough. It's David Mitchell, my lawyer. Wilder, I have news about the divorce proceedings. Good news or bad news? Depends on your perspective. Mira's lawyer contacted me this morning. She wants to expedite the process and avoid a contested hearing. Meaning? She's willing to accept a minimal settlement in exchange for a quick, quiet divorce. No alimony, no claims on your business assets, no fight over the house proceeds. I step outside while Carol continues her work. Why the sudden cooperation? I think her situation has become complicated. Word is, she's been terminated from her position at Henderson & Associates. Her professional prospects in this town are essentially non-existent. The news should make me happy, but instead I feel a strange emptiness. Mira's life is completely destroyed, and while she brought it on herself, there's no satisfaction in watching someone's world collapse so completely. What do you recommend? Take the deal. It saves you months of legal fees and gets you a clean break. You can move on with your life without looking over your shoulder. Draw up the papers. After hanging up, I walk through the empty house one more time. 8 years of marriage, reduced to vacant rooms and fresh paint. In the guest room where I first discovered their affair, I find something Carol missed. A small piece of paper wedged behind the radiator. It's a receipt from Romano's restaurant dated 6 weeks ago. The night Mira told me she was working late on a presentation. The night she was actually having dinner with Blake, using our money to finance their deception. I crumple the receipt and throw it away. Some evidence isn't worth keeping. My new apartment is a loft in a converted warehouse downtown, walking distance from Murphy's and the construction office. It's smaller than the house, but filled with light from floor-to-ceiling windows. More importantly, it's mine alone. No shared history, no painful memories, no lies embedded in the walls. I'm unpacking books when Zeke arrives with pizza and beer. How's the bachelor pad treating you? He asks, looking around approvingly. Better than expected. It's quiet. Quiet is good. Quiet is honest. We eat pizza and drink beer while watching a football game on my new TV. It's the first time in months that I've felt genuinely relaxed. No hidden agendas, no careful conversations, no wondering what's really going on behind the scenes. Any word from Blake? Zeke asks during halftime. He stopped trying to contact me about a week ago. I heard he moved back to the city. Probably for the best. Small towns have long memories. Speaking of long memories, Aunt Lydia called yesterday. Apparently Mira tried to shop at Brennan's grocery and Mrs. Brennan asked her to leave. Zeke winces. That's harsh, even for this town. She made her choices. What about you? Any thoughts about what comes next? It's a question I've been avoiding, but I suppose it's time to face it. I don't know. For now, I'm focused on work and getting settled here. Romance isn't exactly a priority. Fair enough, but don't let their mistakes ruin your faith in people entirely. I won't. But I'm also not in any hurry to trust someone with my heart again. We finish the game in comfortable silence. After Zeke leaves, I sit on my couch looking out at the lights of downtown. It's a different view than I had from the house. Urban instead of suburban, busy instead of quiet. But it feels right somehow. My phone buzzes with a text from Jenny, Blake's ex-girlfriend. I wanted to thank you again for opening my eyes. I've been thinking about what you said at the dinner, about how people show you who they really are if you pay attention. You saved me from making a terrible mistake. I text back, I'm glad something good came out of this mess. Would you be interested in having coffee sometime? I'd like to hear more about your construction business. I'm working on a marketing campaign for a home improvement company and could use some industry insight. The invitation is clearly professional, but there's something appealing about spending time with someone who understands what Blake is capable of. Someone who was betrayed by him too, in her own way. I'd be happy to help. Let me know when works for you. We arranged to meet Thursday at the coffee shop on Main Street. It's not a date. We're both too damaged for that. But it's a step toward normal human interaction with someone who doesn't look at me with pity or curiosity. Wednesday brings the final paperwork from David Mitchell. The divorce settlement is exactly what he promised. Clean, simple, and heavily weighted in my favor. Mira gets nothing except her personal belongings and the right to walk away without a protracted legal battle. I sign the papers and return them the same day. By Christmas, I'll be legally single for the first time in 8 years. The thought should be terrifying, but instead, it's liberating. Thursday's coffee with Jenny turns out to be surprisingly pleasant. She's intelligent, professional, and refreshingly direct about her experience with Blake. I always knew he was selfish, she says over her latte. But I thought it was just immaturity. I never imagined he was capable of something like this. People surprise you, usually not in good ways. The worst part is that I wasted 3 years on him. 3 years of making excuses for his behavior, believing his promises to change, thinking I could fix him. You can't fix people who don't want to be fixed. She nods thoughtfully. What about Mira? Did you see signs that you ignored? It's a fair question, and one I've been asking myself for weeks. Looking back, yes. She was always very concerned with appearances, with how things looked to other people. I thought it was just professionalism, but maybe it was something deeper. Image management. Exactly. She needed to be seen as the perfect wife, the perfect stepmother, the perfect professional, but she never seemed interested in actually being those things. We talk for 2 hours and I find myself genuinely enjoying the conversation. Jenny is smart, funny, and completely without agenda. She's not trying to fix me or save me or get something from me. She's just being herself. When we part ways, she gives me a brief hug. Thank you for this. It helped more than you know. Likewise. I walk back to my apartment feeling lighter than I have in months. Maybe Zeke is right. Maybe I shouldn't let their mistakes destroy my faith in people entirely. That evening, I'm cooking dinner when my phone rings. Unknown number. Hello? Mr. Sornel, this is Patricia Henderson, Mira's former boss. This should be interesting. Mrs. Henderson, what can I do for you? I wanted to update you on the situation with your wife, your ex-wife. The investigation into her conduct has been completed, and I thought you should know the results. I appreciate that. We found evidence of several ethics violations beyond what was initially reported. Misuse of company resources, inappropriate relationships with clients, falsification of time records. The termination was justified on multiple grounds. I see. I also wanted you to know that we've reported our findings to the state licensing board. Given the severity of the violations, it's unlikely she'll be able to work in HR anywhere in the state. Mira's career isn't just over, it's permanently destroyed. She'll have to start completely over in a new field, probably in a new state. Thank you for letting me know. Mr. Sornel, I hope you understand that we take these matters very seriously. The actions of one employee don't reflect the values of our company. Of course. After hanging up, I sit in my kitchen thinking about the thoroughness of Mira's downfall. Her marriage is over, her career is destroyed, her social connections are severed, and her family relationships are strained. She's lost everything that mattered to her. Part of me feels guilty about the completeness of her destruction. But then I remember the casual way she lied to my face for 3 months, the stolen money, the betrayal with my own son. Some actions have consequences that extend far beyond what anyone anticipates. Mira is learning that lesson the hard way. I finish cooking dinner and eat while watching the news. Normal, boring, honest evening activities. No drama, no hidden agendas, No wondering what's really happening behind the scenes. Tomorrow, I'll go back to work building things instead of watching them fall apart. It's a good feeling. The construction site for the new community center is bustling with activity on this crisp October morning. I'm reviewing blueprints with my foreman when my phone buzzes with a text from Carol Peterson, the real estate agent. House sold. Closing next Friday. Final proceeds will be $47,000 more than expected due to bidding war. I pocket the phone and smile. The house that held so many painful memories is finally someone else's problem. The money will go toward expanding my construction business, something positive built from the wreckage of my marriage. Good news, boss? Jake asks, noticing my expression. Very good news. The divorce was finalized 2 months ago, exactly as David Mitchell predicted. Mira signed the papers without contest and disappeared from town the same week. I heard through Aunt Lydia's gossip network that she moved to Portland and is working as a receptionist at a dental office. Blake apparently followed her there, though whether they're still together is anyone's guess. I don't particularly care either way. My phone rings as I'm heading to the truck for lunch. Jenny's name on the screen makes me smile. Hey, I answer. How's the marketing world treating you? Can't complain. Are we still on for dinner tonight? Absolutely. 7 o'clock at Romano's? Perfect. I'll see you there. Jenny and I have been dating for 2 months now, taking things slowly and carefully. We both carry scars from our experiences with Blake, but we're learning to trust again. She's nothing like Mira. Direct instead of manipulative, honest instead of calculating, genuine instead of image-obsessed. Last week, she helped me pick out furniture for my apartment. Next week, we're driving to Boston for a weekend getaway. Small steps toward something that might eventually become something bigger. But I'm in no hurry. I've learned the value of taking time to really know someone before committing to anything serious. Lunch is interrupted by a call from Aunt Lydia, who's become my unofficial source for town gossip and unsolicited advice. Wilder, dear, I have news. Good news or bad news? That depends on your perspective. I ran into Tessa at the grocery store yesterday. How is she? Embarrassed mostly. She asked me to tell you that she's sorry for how everything happened. Apparently, she had no idea what Mira was doing. I believe that. Tessa was genuinely shocked at the family dinner, and her reaction seemed authentic. Did she say anything else? She mentioned that Mira is struggling in Portland, lost her apartment, having trouble finding steady work. The background checks keep turning up the ethics violations. I feel a brief pang of sympathy, but it passes quickly. Mira created her own problems through her own choices. What about Blake? According to Tessa, he's working at a call center and living in a studio apartment. His startup dreams apparently died when the investors learned about his personal conduct. Good. Wilder, dear, you don't sound very sympathetic. Should I be? Aunt Lydia chuckles. No, I suppose not. They made their bed, as the saying goes. After hanging up, I realize that I genuinely don't care what happens to either of them anymore. For months, they occupied so much space in my head, planning revenge, processing betrayal, dealing with the aftermath. Now they're just unpleasant memories that grow fainter with each passing day. The afternoon flies by with inspections, contractor meetings, and the usual controlled chaos of a major construction project. I love this work, building something tangible, something that will last, something that serves a purpose in the community. At 6:30, I clean up and head downtown to meet Jenny for dinner. Romano's is the same restaurant where Mira and Blake had their secret dinners, but I'm reclaiming it. Good food shouldn't be ruined by bad memories. Jenny is already seated when I arrive, looking beautiful in a blue dress that matches her eyes. She smiles when she sees me, and I feel that familiar warmth that comes from being genuinely happy to see someone. How was your day? She asks as I sit down. Productive. Yours? Chaotic, but fun. We landed a new client. a chain of hardware stores that wants to expand into our region. We order wine and fall into easy conversation about work, current events, and weekend plans. It's comfortable and natural, without the careful navigation required in my conversations with Mira. Halfway through dinner, Jenny reaches across the table and takes my hand. "I have something to tell you," she says, looking slightly nervous. My stomach tightens. "What is it?" "Blake contacted me yesterday." The name hits me like a physical blow, but I keep my expression neutral. "What did he want?" "To apologize, supposedly. He said he's been in therapy and wants to make amends with people he hurt." "What did you tell him?" "I told him that some things can't be fixed with apologies, that some damage is permanent." I squeeze her hand. "Good answer." "He also asked about you. Wanted to know if we were dating, how you were doing, whether you'd ever consider talking to him." "And?" "I told him that was none of his business and to lose my number." Relief floods through me. Jenny understands that Blake is part of our past, not our future. "Thank you for telling me. I don't want any secrets between us. We've both had enough of that." We finish dinner and walk hand in hand down Main Street. The evening is crisp and clear, with the first hint of autumn in the air. The town looks different to me now, smaller maybe, but also more honest. The gossip and judgment that seemed so overwhelming 6 months ago now feel like the natural consequences of living in a place where people care about each other. "Want to come up for coffee?" I ask as we reach my building. "I'd love to." We climb the stairs to my apartment and I realize how much my life has changed since that night when I discovered Mira sneaking out of the guest room. The pain and anger have faded, replaced by something better, peace, purpose, and the possibility of genuine happiness. Jenny curls up on my couch while I make coffee, looking perfectly at home in my space. It occurs to me that this is what a real relationship feels like: comfortable, honest, built on mutual respect instead of deception and manipulation. "Penny for your thoughts," she says as I hand her a mug. "Just thinking about how different everything is now." "Different how?" "Better, honest, real." She nods thoughtfully. "Do you ever regret how you handled everything? The public confrontation, the way you exposed them?" It's a question I've asked myself many times. No. They chose to make their affair public by conducting it in my house, with my money, around my family. I just made sure everyone had accurate information. No mercy for either of them? They showed no mercy for me. Why should I show mercy for them? Jenny considers this. Fair point. We sit in comfortable silence, drinking coffee and watching the lights of the town below. My phone sits silent on the coffee table. No urgent calls, no crisis management, no wondering who's really on the other end of the conversation. Just peace. "I should probably head home," Jenny says eventually. "Early meeting tomorrow." I walk her to her car and kiss her goodnight. Soft, sweet, uncomplicated. No hidden agendas, no careful calculations, no wondering what she's really thinking. "I'll call you tomorrow," she says. "I'll answer." After she drives away, I climb back upstairs to my apartment. The space feels warm and welcoming, filled with furniture I chose and memories I'm building day by day. I pour myself a small glass of wine and step out onto my balcony. The town spreads out below me, quiet and peaceful in the evening light. Somewhere out there, Mira and Blake are living with the consequences of their choices. But they're no longer my problem, no longer my concern. I've built something new from the wreckage they created. Something honest, something real, something entirely mine. Tomorrow, I'll go back to work building the community center. Next week, Jenny and I will drive to Boston for our weekend getaway. Next month, I'll start planning renovations to expand my business. All of it built on a foundation of truth instead of lies. It's a good feeling. The wine is making me reflective, so I allow myself one final thought about the family I lost and the life I'm building. Mira and Blake wanted to rewrite our story, and in a way, they succeeded. But they didn't get to write the ending. I did that myself, and it's a much better ending than anything they could have imagined.